So in this video I'm just going to show you how to apply a texture to your terrain. Now this is just a really basic texture. It may not look that great. It's a good starting out point. So once you've got your terrain here sitting in your scene, select it in the hierarchy, and over on the inspector you'll see the middle button here in our terrain is the paint texture button. Now when you select that, obviously you have all these different paint brushes, but also we can add some textures that we can apply to our terrain. You'll notice there are no terrain textures set up initially. So all we're going to do is click on Edit Textures and Add Texture, and what it will do is it will ask you to go and select the texture you want. So in my case here I'm just going to go and choose Good Dirt. Now what's important before you go ahead and do that is that you realise that the first texture you select will apply to the entire terrain as a default. So it's important that you get your base texture right. So I'm just going to choose Good Dirt because then I can layer up on top of that. Now also you notice the size here of it. I'm just going to go to about a 5 by 5. The size isn't terribly important, but if it does get too large, the actual texture itself will get stretched out and become a little bit blurry. And if you make it too small, obviously you can't really see anything. So that seems to work. So just click Add, and there you can see that it's applied to the entire terrain. And you can see if we zoom in the terrain, the texture there. Okay. If you want to maybe say in this case paint those mountains a slightly different texture, I'd need to add a second texture. So I'll go to my Edit Textures again and Add Texture, and this time I'll go grab another one. Where have I got? Hopefully I've got something. Oh, there we go, grass and rock. So I'll add that. I'm going to make that about a 5 by 5 as well. Add it. Now, you notice over here in my list of textures, I only have 2. See that blue line there? That means it's the currently active one, so I'll need just to click on the new one I added. And much like the changing the height of the texture when we were making mountains, we can now choose any of these brushes, but we can also change the settings. So we can go for a large brush size, and you can see brush size is quite large there on the terrain. We can change the opacity and also the target strength. So I'm just going to zoom in here on my mountain, and I should just be able to paint this texture on there, like so. Okay, so if I zoom in, you can now see that texture has been applied to the mountain, whereas we have the Good Dirt still applied to the ground. Okay, so that is a very quick overview on how you would apply textures to your terrain. Best thing to do is really play around with the opacity and target strength and find settings that work. Try and avoid really harsh transitions from one into the other. Obviously you can just play around with your opacity and click over things and create sort of these transition zones where one will change gently into another texture. So anyway, that's all for now. Thanks.